Welcome back. It's time to talk about immigration. It's a topic that is at the core of our being here in the United States of America. We're a nation of immigrants. And it's certainly an issue that's been at the forefront, not only in the legislative sense, but of course, we're going to elect a president next year, and there are more than a few Republicans who have something to say about the subject of immigration. And so we're going to get a little bit of expert input this evening. Tonight from Shumway, Van and Hansen, our expert is practicing attorney in the area of immigration, Clay Alger. Welcome back, brother. Nice to see you.
Terry, good to see you. Doing well, thanks.
Good. Looking good as always.
You too, as always.
Thank you. So I guess maybe let's start with a little bit of a philosophy, because as I've been thinking about this topic, and since we were scheduling, I can't help but reflect on how odd it is to me that in this country in the year 2015 that for so many people the idea of immigration is just an X. Like, let's not let more people in, but as recently as yesterday Donald Trump was saying that if 50,000 Syrian refugees come here before he's elected, he'll send them all back, and more of this kind of inflaming rhetoric. Talk a little bit about your perspective as a practicing immigration attorney.
Right. Well, first of all, it's a lot different than Donald Trump's perspective, I'll tell you that. But you know, there needs to be more compassion, I think, is a big part of this. You know, a lot of the public doesn't understand just the individual aspect, that each individual who is here, a lot of these immigrants have families, have jobs, are good people, you know, and if they are being deported, it is just tearing families apart in a lot of cases. And so this concept that the likes of Donald Trump are propounding just won't work. I mean, I think it is a lot of rhetoric, and unfortunately we are in that political season, and immigration is a very highly politicized topic. And unfortunately, sometimes that drives immigration policy in this country. But if the people would just, if the politicians would just take a more personal, individual approach and consider the lives that are at stake here, I think we'd have a much better immigration policy in this country. And you know, Donald Trump, for example, a lot of it is just inflammatory. And I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, for example, he wants to get rid of the birthright citizenship, which he can't do on his own. That's in the Constitution, which a lot of people don't realize, and he can't amend the Constitution, and it's hard to amend the Constitution. This idea of rounding up immigrants and deporting them is just not feasible, you know. And so I think we have to have a common sense approach.
And which is a perfect segue, thank you, for the legislative side of the conversation. I read a couple of bits that folks were saying that it's possible that John Boehner may, especially given the reasons for his decision to retire from the Senate, or excuse me, from the House, and from his position as Speaker, that he may be the person who can help the immigration reform bill get passed. Thoughts?
He certainly could. Whether he does is still very much up in the air. You made an interesting point. As we all know now, John Boehner made his announcement the day after Pope Francis made his address to Congress, and one of Pope Francis's big issues was immigration and this idea of compassion, the golden rule, which is, you know, the basic Christian idea of treat others as you'd want to be treated. Right? This is a nation of immigrants. We were built on immigrants, so let's have some compassion. And with that and John Boehner's reaction, it makes you wonder, is he thinking about that? Now it is, as my understanding, still speculation, because my understanding is he was the one that essentially killed the deal, because there were votes in the House, but he didn't allow it for vote. And from what I've read, his replacement sure wouldn't put it for vote. Which is why this so presumably is the window. I mean, so it's very interesting. We'll see what happens. Last I heard, I think, was end of this month that he plans to resign. So we're definitely going to be watching this closely. But whether he does it or not is up in the air. But that could be his last final thing. But we'll see. I mean, and it'd be great if he did, but we'll see.
Very good.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break. I want to talk a little bit more about the bill itself as soon as we come back. We'll be right back. Clay Alger is here. We're talking immigration. Please stay tuned.
Hi, I'm George Crandall.
And I'm George's son, Robert Crandall. My granddad started our Summit County Ford dealership in 1946. My dad and I are here to make sure our customers receive the best service of any Utah Ford dealership. We have a great selection of new and pre-owned vehicles, and if we don't have it, let us find it for you. Come see us and we'll show you why the grass is not always greener on the Wasatch Front.
Buy your vehicle from your local Ford dealer right here in Summit County. Crandall Ford's been operating in Summit County for over 67 years.
We want a long-term relationship with you and your vehicle.
Alex decided to check his briefcase for some important papers while he was driving. His bad decision to take his eyes off the road took the life of a young motorcyclist. Accidents don't just happen. They're caused by bad decisions made by distracted drivers. At Siegfried & Jensen, we turn those bad decisions into fair settlements for the innocent people and families they hurt. Siegfried & Jensen, it won't cost you anything to see if we can help.
Van Dam's Tree Service provides you with all your tree care and removal needs. Built on honesty and integrity, there is no job too big or too small. At Van Dam's Tree Service, we pay careful attention to every detail to make sure you get tree work the way you want it done.
Yes, we're going to Flanagan's. It's the real Irish pub on historic Main Street in Park City. The food is killer. I love everything. Corned beef and cabbage, the fish and chips, and the beef stew. Oh, and the burgers, it's so yummy. Locals hang out here. Cheers! And big peeps love this place too. The drinks, the live music, and the dancing. Hey, check out my moves. I wish I could stay all night and show all these hotties my Irish mojo, but the desserts are my weakness. Flanagan's is Irish for yummy.
Welcome back. We are discussing immigration with immigration attorney from Shumway, Van & Hansen, Clay Alger. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Nice to have you here. I wanted to ask your thoughts on, and I use the word monolith, as far as, you know, we get to the point where there's an immigration bill that it's passed the Senate, now it's potentially before the House for a vote, but I'm sure a lot of people don't really know really substantively what's in the bill. Talk a little bit about it from your perspective of how you feel as far as a quality piece of legislation from your perspective.
Sure. Well, what I like about the bill is that it's comprehensive. It's a comprehensive immigration reform. Our immigration system has a lot of old laws that haven't changed in a long time, and just we need some new laws for the new situation we're in, just the new world we're in. So I like that. And for example, one thing we don't hear a lot about is employment immigration, but that system has a lot of issues, and this bill will also fix the employment side of immigration. But what we usually hear about is the situation of these millions of people that are here without documentation, right? Or the difficulty of bringing family here and being separated family because the immigration is so slow to get certain family members to be with you here in the United States. And so I like that the bill, is comprehensive in that regard. It is, as currently written, would provide a possible path to legalization for those people, which the laws just currently don't allow for. And that is kind of the big elephant in the room. What do we do with the people that are good people that are here, established families, hard workers, contributing to the economy, but they don't have legal status? What do we do? As we discussed earlier, the idea of just rounding them up and deporting them, it just is not feasible and not desirable for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Not just not feasible, but not desirable. Like I said, I've seen families broken up through deportation, and it's heartbreaking, right? And so I like that the bill addresses that issue. Now, as far as I understand it, the idea is allow that process, but a tough process, right? So make people accountable. Make sure that the people that are able to stay here, it's safe. They're not a danger to our communities, and they pay the price for coming here unlawfully, but that they have hope of getting that right. Path to legalization. Now, the one thing that's still very uncertain is how it will be implemented and if it will be implemented, because that's always the big question is, even if this law passes, presidential administrations have certain discretion to enforce certain laws, and how efficiently the government, and how well they administer this program is still much up in the air. But in general, I like the idea of comprehensive immigration reform, and I think the bill, while not perfect, in my mind at least, is a good step in the right direction.
It's occurred to me that one of the things I feel like is always missing from the conversation is just the reality of, here we are, this amazing nation with so much riches, so much opportunity. And of course, Donald Trump talks Mexico, 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 but we're having people come here from all over the world. And the rationale, and you used this phrase earlier, the rationale is the same for everybody: a better life. The places that people are coming from are places that aren't what we have here. I would posit that we're outside of urban centers, we're in some ways still a relatively sparsely populated nation given our large landmass. Talk about from what you see working with clients, what the American dream looks like, what it feels like to people in the year 2015.
Well, the American dream is still there, and you're right, this country offers so much promise. But I also see a lot of frustration from my clients. For example, President Obama in November of last year announced an affirmative or an executive action that would, what we call deferred action in immigration, that would help a lot of people that are here with children in the United States. Let these people at least get work authorization cards. That was supposed to be implemented several months ago, but of course politics gets involved, the courts get involved, there's now a lawsuit pending, and that program is not implemented yet. And it's still up in the air whether it will be. And so I see a lot of frustration because there was a lot of hope when that executive action was announced, but now as that's not passing, as months go by, a lot of exasperation and dejection. Is this really going to happen? But nonetheless, our country was built on immigration. Immigrants founded this country, and I believe that that's one of the things that makes this country great. And so, for example, you mentioned the Syrian refugee crisis, right? The United States allows refugees into the country, but not as much as other countries. And I would like to see, a greater improved refugee and asylum program in the United States to help these people that are great people that are in very poor circumstances right now.
And it occurs to me the line, and I don't think it was Trump, but somebody said, probably Mike Huckabee or somebody like that said, I think they just want to come here to get cable TV. And anybody who's seen photographs of Homs, Syria knows that it's a dire situation, and that safety and just the opportunity to stay alive, let alone, is it's a crucial issue, and it doesn't seem to go away.
Absolutely.
It's good to see you, my friend. Do you have any parting shots for us? Any other thoughts before we draw to a close on our immigration conversation?
No. What I would just say is, get informed on the issues. Especially, immigration is going to be a huge topic here for the current election. So get informed. Both sides. I'm not criticizing either political. I try not to get too political on these things, but get informed on the issues when you decide for who to vote for this election.
And I couldn't agree more. I feel like the more I'm political, the less analytical I am, and I always feel like then my emotions flame. And thanks. Good to see you.
Thank you, Terry.
We should give folks the spot, shumwayvan.com. Is that right?
Absolutely. And we actually just launched a new website for fiancé and family-based immigration. It's K1visarequirements.com. That's K, the letter K, the number 1, visarequirements.com. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Fiancé and family. Very nice. Great to see you.
Thank you
so much as always.
You too, Terry.
Best wishes.
Thank you.